My name is Kaliya Young. I'm also known as the Identity Woman. Sure. So today I was contributing to the conversations about identity in the law, and one of the key pieces of the law is who's in contracts with one another, and how do you figure that out? And my community around the Internet Identity Workshop has been innovating how people can represent themselves online and own their own digital identities. So this is a really key thing to do. We've been meeting at the Internet Identity Workshop for about 13 years. And so we've been into identity before blockchain existed. And it turns out that blockchains are really handy to potentially transform how we own and control our own digital identities. So there's a new emerging standard called decentralized identifiers, or DIDs, that's coming about, where we own and control our digital identities, rather than being under, say, Google or Facebook or LinkedIn, or renting a domain name or renting a phone number. Instead, we create these really long numbers we own and control and post them into ledgers, and then all sorts of interesting possibilities come from that. Identifiers and data are different. So identifier is where you anchor things like the logins into systems, and data is what you generate as you use systems. So right now in Google and Facebook and many of these tools, you log in, you get a name, you log in and you pick a Gmail address, and that's unique in the Gmail namespace. And then all the email correspondence you have is like all the data you generate or use in that system. The idea is, if we don't own and control our identifiers, we can't own and control our data. So we have to own and control our representation in digital form before we can have conversations about data ownership, right? So I have my Gmail address under Gmail. I have my Facebook account under Facebook. And in doing so, I am entirely subject to the terms and conditions that they put in place, and I can be terminated. My digital self can be killed, and I have no recourse because I signed a terms of service and they own the namespace. It's theirs, it's not mine. We have a whole set of common and other law that sort of says I have autonomy over my physical self. How do we make equivalent things true in the digital space? And we have to own and control the identifier as a starting point. And we're just on the cusp of new emerging standards for people to own and control their own identifiers that happen to use blockchains to anchor them so they don't disappear. Because these things are just emerging. It's sort of like we're having a conversation about a new layer of the internet. Just like we had an internet where people were using Gopher to share files and sending email around, and then somebody invented a web browser, and then you got HTML and stuff, and that all happened around like 1993. So we're in 1993 for this new identity layer of the internet. Almost nobody's heard of it, and it's coming soon, and it's going to change everything.